10:07, 7 past 10.
John Cass and Jake Hartford in for Bruce and Dan.
Here's the portion we're talking about the debate last night. Here's the portion from last night where they were talking about Libya. It was my fault for starting.
It was not a spontaneous demonstration. Is that what you're saying?
Please proceed, Governor.
I want to make sure we get that for the record, because it took the president 14 days before he called the attack in Benghazi an act of terror.
Get the transcript.
He did, in fact, sir. So let me call it an act of terror.
Can you say that a little louder, Candy?
He did call it an act of terror.
How did the president know Candy had this transcript in front of her?
That was nice, huh?
What are the odds of that?
Huh?
Did she have the transcript and other things that came up on those questions?
Did she ask the official White House News, press secretary for the transcript, and then he knew about it because of the request? Who knows? It was, let's put it this way. Every Sunday, there's a halfback carrying the ball, and there's someone doing the blocking. And in this context, right here, you see Barack Obama about to get tackled, and Candy Crowley comes in to lay a perfect block. She stops Romney in his tracks. She says he did call it an act of terror. And that kind of stopped the guy. And then you had the applause.
If you read the entire transcript, he kept referring to it as an attack. And out of that, it was towards the end where he does the generic "no acts of terror will ever shake the resolve of this great nation." To that character eclipse the light of the values that we stand for. Yeah.
You're speaking of the Rose Garden.
The Rose Garden, the day after, yes, the morning after.
Right, he mentions acts of terror generically, correct?
No acts of terror, correct.
He doesn't say, and then after that, what happens?
What happened was Jay Carney, the White House press secretary, was asked about it the next day or so, and he denied that it was an act of terror. He said the president never said that. And then
he goes on. Then the president
and Susan Rice went on the Sunday morning shows and five different shows, and said it was a spontaneous demonstration out of which, because of the video, out of which people attacked the embassy.
Right. They blamed the video, not
No.
And they did it. And guess what? She didn't just go out there because, hey, I'm Susan Rice, ambassador. I'm just going to go talk. It wasn't her idea. The White House sent her out there.
And then
5 different times.
And not only that, the president went on David Letterman, was asked if it was an act of terror, and he did not say so. He went on The View. He was Mr. Eye Candy there. Joy Behar asked him if it was an act of terror, and he did not say that. No. And if it really was, you think he would have said it.
If he thought it, here's the thing. They knew it was an act of terror. From the beginning, they knew that there was not a spontaneous demonstration video related there. They knew. They had people on the phone calling them saying they're attacking us with mortars and RPGs, right? It was a coordinated attack. But because of Candy Crowley getting in the middle of this thing and insisting and, stopping, playing the den mother, what happens is the perception is that Obama has escaped this. And that is wrong because it shouldn't be a gotcha point politically. It should be what happened to the American policy and American citizens who are dead.
If it really was an act of terror, how did all his people not hear him? How come they didn't understand what he said?
What do you mean?
Susan Rice didn't understand what he said. Jay Carney didn't understand. Letterman, Joy Behar. Why didn't they understand if the president was so emphatic in the Rose Garden that day that it was an act of terror?
Because he wasn't emphatic. But Crowley never mentioned that.
Owen and Willowbrook. Good morning, Owen.
Hi, Jake and John. How are you? Hey, as far as Candy Crowley, I don't know what award you'd give her, but she'd make one hell of a great replacement NFL referee. I mean, she's
left tackle.
Yeah, but that's true too. A good left tackle. But I think what Romney missed there, and the opportunity was when Obama took responsibility for Libya. I think he was trying to wrap the attack. Obama was trying to wrap the attack and the cover up into one. So if he says he takes responsibility, it goes away. But Romney should have done was agreed and said, "Well, yes, you should take the responsibility, but why did you send out?" At that point, he could have said, why did you send out your UN ambassador to mislead the public, since he took the responsibility, and then let him see him wiggle his way out? Because once he takes the responsibility, you tie both of them into one, and he can't get out of it.
I don't even know what we're tying together anymore, Owen. I got to tell you. I know what you're saying, but you know what? Yesterday, Hillary Clinton took responsibility, and that was the story. They didn't tell the White House what was going on. I got a call yesterday from somebody I know who was an insider about 2 p.m, and he said, tonight the president is going to take responsibility. And I said, but Hillary already did. And he said, you don't understand. Politically, it doesn't look good for him to let her take the rap, take the fall. And I thought this guy was full of it. Apparently, he wasn't.
I understand, but now that he says he takes the responsibility for it, then you say, well, why did you send your ambassador out to mislead the public? What's he going to say? I don't know. Well, that's not taking responsibility.
But Owen, will this story continue? And Jake, do you think the story is going to continue, or will the media say, "See, Candy Crowley said, shut up now, shut up, it's over"?
Well, the Romney campaign doesn't let it end. That's when he can come out publicly and say he took responsibility. He sent his UN ambassador out to mislead, and then they're going to have to deny it. And once they deny it, that's not taking responsibility.
All right. Thank you, Owen.
Thanks. Thanks, Owen. But how does this move the ball towards, victory or not victory in 3 weeks? That's the question.
23 million people are unemployed. That's what I remember. Joe in Chicago, you're on 89 WS, Joe.
Hi, guys. Here's my question/comment. Okay. Do the Republicans have any say on who the moderators for these debates are? Because after every debate, I keep hearing the same complaint, how liberal the moderators are being and helping the president out. Here's what they should do. The first debate, they should be allowed to take the liberal. Then the Republicans can have Rush moderate the second debate. Then the third debate, they can have 2 moderators. They can have one liberal, and they can have, say, Mark Levin for the Republicans. That would, because we got to stop this. I keep hearing it.
You know what, Joe? It all goes into thank you. It all goes into the network that's covering it, and they get to choose their person who they want to put up there. And that's the way it is. On Mondays, the upcoming debate on Monday, which is on foreign policy, it's going to be carried by CBS as the main station, and it's going to be Bob Schieffer. That's who it's going to be.
And it's up against the Bear game.
Go Bears. 10:15, time for traffic right now on the 5s on 89 WLS. 10:16. You know what the other part of the debate yesterday that was the whole GM deal? That the Detroit strike deal, Detroit go bankrupt, whatever. Romney never said that.
See, when you hear the president speak, you think, you said, Mr. Romney, that you wanted Detroit to go bankrupt. And I thought, wow, he's the president. He must be telling the truth.
That came out of a New York Times opinion piece that Romney wrote that the headline writer put in.
Once again, the columnist blames the headline writer.
How often is that? You know how many times I've heard that, though, from people that are covered in the news?
I didn't write the headline.
They didn't. Yeah. And it isn't the person who writes the story. It's the headline writer. And sometimes you'll see headlines that have nothing to do with. I'll see a headline and it'll drag me in, and I'll read the story, and I'm like, where did the headline come from? It has nothing to do with what's in the story.
For me, we have a great copy desk, and I would never condemn our headline writers because they write great headlines for my column, and they also save my butt many times checking stuff. So you're not going to hear me say that.
Not on the air.
Not in the air, not private.
Keith in Winfield.
Boys,
good morning,
I got
Keith.
your back if you're listening.
Yeah,
on
hi.
the air.
How are you guys?
Hi, Keith.
What's up, Keith?
Good. Hey, listen, I have a question for you. You guys read about this stuff all the time. Have you ever read anything that supports Candy Crowley's argument that he, in fact, did say it was an act of terror? Did you ever see any article that interprets?
No, we went through the transcript from the Rose Garden. He talks about an attack 5 or 6 times, but then he says no acts of terror will ever shake the resolve of this great nation.
I know, but my point is, Candy Crowley and the president were on the exact same page when the rest of America had no clue what they were talking about. I was totally surprised when that came on.
We were very fortunate that she had the foresight to have the transcript there.
Yeah.
And also, you know what? She might have had not worn the tinfoil hat that I wear. I put a tinfoil hat on whenever David Axelrod is within 4,000 miles of me, because you just have to make sure to keep him out of your head.
I understand why Romney was not, and nobody else in America was aware of that argument.
That's a very good point, Keith.
And even his own press secretary and UN ambassador. Right. Thank you, Keith.
And those two are on the exact same page at the exact same time.
Thanks, Keith.
Keith, the caller of the day so far. That's the way to pare it down, right?
You want the name of the Kathy Crowley Award?
Let's hear it.
It's the Crowley Transcript Award. She had the foresight to have the transcript there.
That's good.
Dawn in Plainfield. Good morning, Dawn. Welcome to WOS. Dawn? There you go.
From the woman in my family. We are tired of President Obama pandering to women with bringing up birth control, bringing up Planned Parenthood. We don't care about that. What we care about is our checkbook. We see gas prices. We see our grocery bills double. We see our utility bill double. That's what we care about. That's what we want to hear about. What is his plan?
70%.
What are you going to do about that?
Dawn, women make 70% of what men make.
I don't. You know what? I'm tired of it. First of all, it's not true. And it's sexist of him to bring it up. It's sexist of him. The Democratic Party is the sexist party because they pander to women with the birth control. We don't want to hear about that. We care about our Wallace book. That's what we want to hear about. And you know what? Most of us understand what capital gains is. Don't pander to us as if we don't understand what capital gains is.
Well, you're a woman. You wouldn't know. We don't expect you to know.
That's why government is your daddy. You know, that's what they want, right? They want you to be protected.
I don't need them to protect me.
I know that, Dawn.
Yeah.
As he says on the air. Thank you, Dawn.
There's a definite Jake John thing going on now. What is this? You're accusing me of hypocrisy?
No, I never said that.
No, as he says on the air.
Well,
for my copy
you did say it on the air.
As he says on the air.
Well, you did say it on the air.
I know, but the implication, Mr. Obama, is that you're, calling me a hypocrite. And I take great umbrage.
There he goes again.
With a big word.
Umbrage, yeah. 10:21, back after this.
89 WLS.
Coming up today at 2 on Rowan Roper, the post-debate debate with Mike Flannery. Plus, a new book says the government is wasting your money. Really? Rowan Roper, afternoons 2 to 6, 89 WLS.
10:28, we're going to get to your calls. We're talking about the debate here, and one of the things was the Keystone Pipeline.
Yeah.
And the president made the comment about they built enough pipelines to circle the earth.
Several times.
I know, okay.
It's like, how many slinkies?
You know what? But if a company wants to build a pipeline where they're going to make money on it, and we're going to get 20,000 jobs, and it's going to provide a benefit, then why wouldn't we do it? I don't care how many pipelines we built around the earth. Although the actual truth,
or how many windmills?
Well, the actual truth is 19,500 miles of what the president talked about. It's 25,000 miles approximately to go around the earth. 19,500 miles of pipeline were basically gas transmission lines that were put into people's homes and buildings. So
it's not like a big
no, it wasn't like
pipe
a big oil pipeline. No,
through the tundra with
it's like
little wolves.
Like if somebody were going down Princeton Avenue in Bridgeport,
like the Wolf family on either side. Like like a family in Bridgeport separated grandparents from cousins from a pipeline forever.
No, not like that. It was just like if going from the curb into the house. That's the pipeline. John Cass, Jake Hartford, Dave Stewart standing by with news weather traffic right here in 89 WLS.
Get the latest news alerts on the go and stay informed. Just text BREAKING to 68683. 89 WLS.
You use it or you lose it.
10:37. I will remind you and ask you to join 89 WLS at the Putting Chicagoland Back to Work Job Fair on Wednesday, October 24th at the Holiday Inn Rowan Meadows in Schaumburg. Richard Roper will be there from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and Bruce and Dan from 12:30 to 3. For details, go to the events page at WLSAM.com. Right, John?
That's it. He'll be there.
Taking more of your calls, 591-8900 on reaction to the debate. Jane and Antioch. Good morning, Jane.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Yourself?
I'm doing fine. I just had one very quick observation, then I want to tell you what I saw last night. Obama came out to me as a very angry young man hitting at a piñata, just, trying to swing at everything he could. There was really no focus or direction.
Did his teeth look nice, though?
They look wonderful, thank you.
They were very. He was flashing the teeth a lot last night.
And smirking, anyway. That seems to be a trademark. But what really got my blood boiling again is, I'm used to him playing the blame Bush card. I'm used to the single mother card. I'm used to the grandmother card, blah, 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 blah. What he did last night really made me nuts. What he started was, I'm the president, which we know, but he started the I'm the president, I greet the coffins. And that, to me, just really got under my skin because that was very disrespectful, very disrespectful. Anyone that has family or friends in the service, these guys and women are over there fighting and dying every day. When he visits them, which is very, very rare, it's for a photo op. He doesn't interact with the troops. And so to play the I'm the president, I greet the coffins just really got me angry, as you can tell. And it should anger all of the Americans. That really is not, it was very inappropriate.
Right. Thank you, Jane. Do we have that cut? Play the cut.
And I am ultimately responsible for what's taking place there because these are my folks. And I'm the one who has to greet those coffins when they come home. You know that I mean what I say.
Mr. President, I got to move us along.
I don't know how often he greets the coffins. That I don't know. What I do know, though, John, is we talked about within the past couple of weeks the letters that he sends to the soldiers who die in battle. And we talked about Colonel Joseph Logan down from Houston, whose family got a form letter. That the president sends the same letter to every other person who dies, and
including people from
Benghazi, and they got, and we talked about this last week.
Right.
Sean Smith, Patricia Smith's son, Sean Smith died, and she got the same letter that everybody else gets, except for one line that was inserted about being with you when the coffins arrived. It was a cut and paste job. A cut and paste job.
Right. It's just done on a word processor by a secretary with a Obama signature.
Changing the name and the rank and the branch of service. And as we talked about, presidential historians have looked at what other presidents have done, and they've either personalized the letters, and they were typed and personalized.
George Bush wrote them.
Hand wrote a bunch of them, yes.
George Bush wrote them for all the how are you different from George Bush? He could have said, well, the president doesn't handwrite the letters.
And that's what I thought of last night during that passage of the debate. Yeah. That
I thought it was a little cheap, the I stand with the coffins, because if you know the backstory, as we were talking last week, as you mentioned, you know that he doesn't write the letters.
I think that was his way of trying to end the debate about this whole
how
Benghazi
dare
deal.
you question me? I stand by the coffins. I'm the president. Be quiet.
I know Kathy Crowley, who gets the Kathy Crowley Transcription Award, he's
already picking it. Yeah.
Who said who when the president said check the transcript, and she said yes, check the transcript, yes, that's in there. I said, how did she know to have a transcript? Barbara Walters on The View just had Kathy Crowley on, and she asked her about that very thing. Here's what Kathy Crowley said.
Wear an earpiece, some of us do, so that the producer can say, move it along, or, take a break and so. Were you wearing an earpiece? Do you have a fact checker, or do you just know everything?
Neither. I didn't have a fact checker. No, I had an earpiece in.
So they could talk
they were saying the only thing they would say is A, we've got 30 minutes left, or B, we're halfway through.
No. The Libya question, you just knew.
I knew that I'd heard him in the Rose Garden. I'd seen it before, and I'd heard this conversation before. The one thing they did tell me in my ear was, the president's 5 minutes over Mitt Romney. You need to let Romney speak some more. And so I would, sometimes people said, why'd you let Romney speak so much? I said, we were trying to, balance it out.
Wait a minute. Now, the Crowlokio Award? little wooden puppet that wanted to be a boy or something, became a news anchor, and every time she talked, then her nose would grow? What was that, Jake?
Romney had 5 minutes coming, and she gave him 2.
No.
I understand that, but that's the other
another
thing.
One.
Because the president got 3 minutes more than Romney did. He had 5 minutes coming, but she gave him 2. Okay. But she knew this?
She knew that he said acts of terror. She knew. She was the only one. What did we have that great call from earlier in the show? She and the president, the only 2 people on the earth.
So when she was at the White House press briefing room afterwards, in the days afterwards,
right.
And Jay Carney was asked about this, and he said, "No, it wasn't a terror attack.
It's a video."
She never stood up and said, "Mr. Carney, the president said it was." She never did that.
Right.
Why not?
Or
did a story on it.
Or when the ambassador Susan Rice went out and said, "It's not the terror, it's a video, it's a video, it's a video, it's a video," 5 times. You'd think that Candy Crowley, because she's such a great reporter, with never having any earbud in her ear for people talking to her, she would have done a story saying, Jay Carney said this. They're contradicting the president, Susan Rice.
Of the 5 shows that Susan Rice did that Sunday, one was the CNN show with Kathy Crowley. So when she said it was the video, it was spontaneous, why didn't Kathy Crowley say, you know what? No. The president said the other day it was an act of terror.
I heard it.
Why didn't she say that?
Because he didn't say it that way.
So do you believe...
He just threw it out there as a CYA.
Is she just making this up now? I don't know. 10:44, back after this.
89 WLS. When you encounter travel tie-ups, tell the 89 WLS traffic tip line. Just call 312-984-CARS. 312-984-5277.
Mr. President, have you looked at your pension?
Daddy,
Have you looked at your pension?
I've got to say.
Mr. President, have you looked at your pension?
You know, I don't look at my pension. It's not as big as yours, so it doesn't take as long.
Let me give you some. Let me give you some advice.
I don't check it that often.
Let me give you some advice. Look at your pension. You also have investments in Chinese companies. Yeah. You also have investments outside the United States. Yeah. You also have investments through a Cayman's trust.
And we're way off topic here, Governor Romney.
We're a little off topic here.
Completely off the immigration.
I thought we were talking about immigration.
And I came back to what you spoke about.
I do want to make sure.
If I could have you sit down, Governor Romney, thank you.
That was the best part of the debate for me.
He's good, isn't he? Barack Obama.
Hey,
like he really wanted to talk about immigration.
Speaking of good, Chicago's talk leader, 89 WS, on the air and on iHeartRadio. That was the best part of the debate because Romney's getting accused of investments in Chinese companies, etc. And the president, who, by the way, according to the Tribune study, for his 9 years or so he was in state office, his pension somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 a year, has investments apparently in China, in some Chinese companies.
Because the pension, investment groups do invest in companies all over the world.
And we don't have time to get into GM and all, where 1/3 of GM's jobs are outside the United States. But they've got partnerships with Chinese companies. They're making, the president talked about how many cars they export.
Right.
They're making cars in China.
For export.
For China and export because the Chinese labor is a lot cheaper than here.
Listen, you had 2 politicians talking really fast.
Yeah, that's a
dangerous.
Recipe for danger. 10:54, back after this.
89 WLS. An ABC News update is just minutes away. 89 WLS and online at WLSAM.com.
10:58.
John Cass and Jake Hartford in for Bruce and Dan. And you know what? It's just great to be back here with you. I just missed you yesterday. And it's nice to be here. With this warm, fuzzy feeling.
You know why John is saying that, guys? Because the other day, John told me the 3 TV shows he watches all the time. And as soon as he said it, he realized he never should have told me that. So he's afraid I'm just going to tell you.
You know what?
And I'm not going to, John. I would never do that.
I'm not going to let you hold this over my head forever. So maybe tomorrow we'll have to discuss it. And you know what? Bring it, Jake. Okay?
No.
I'm sorry. I like those TV shows.
Hey, speaking of bringing it, Rush Limbaugh coming up in a couple minutes. He's going to have the reaction to the debate and a whole lot more. Then Rowan Roper, your afternoon drive home starting at 2 o'clock right here on 89 WLS. John Cass and Jay Carford, thank you for taking part in the show today. We'll be back in 22.
See ya.